Hey guys, Razorblade Mango here, and today I wanted to talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake Intermission. This is the DLC, the only DLC, apparently, allegedly, that's going to be released for Remake, and it stars Yuffie. If you haven't played Final Fantasy VII Remake yet and been waiting for a next-gen version, let's get this out of the way first. Would I recommend Final Fantasy VII Remake? Absolutely. I'm not even taking the Yuffie DLC into account. I would honestly recommend Final Fantasy VII Remake. If you have not played it yet, I will have no problem recommending it by itself for that $70 price tag. And again, that's without taking the Yuffie DLC into consideration, because I think it is a very good game. The best Final Fantasy game, in my opinion, in 20 years. And if you'd like to know more about my opinions on it, I have a full 2-hour analysis of Final Fantasy VII Remake that I have up on YouTube. So please check that out. Now, let's get into Intermission. So this is the Yuffie DLC. It's set between the chapter where Cloud meets Aerith and the dropping of the plate on Sector 7. That's the time frame that this Yuffie DLC takes place in. And it consists of 2 chapters. And one of the things that I was concerned about when I heard it was going to be 2 chapters was the value to price ratio seems a little much in the favor of the price rather than the value. $20 for 2 chapters, especially if you've played Final Fantasy VII. A chapter could range from anywhere to like a quick hour to like multiple hours because of all the side quests and story stuff that's in it. Thankfully, the first chapter of this 2-parter is, I got about 5 to 6 hours out of that chapter alone because I was busy doing the side activity. There aren't very many, but there are a few. Side activity and the new Fort Condor game that's in it, which I will get to that in a sec. Now, I guess the question is, do I like the Intermission? And the answer is yes. It basically is more of the same. Did you like the combat in Final Fantasy VII Remake? Great. Did you like the very Nomura-ish style anime writing? Great. Then you'll fit right at home here. If you didn't like any of that stuff already in Remake, then nothing in Intermission is going to change your mind. This is basically Final Fantasy VII Remake combat, it's Final Fantasy VII Remake level design, it's Final Fantasy VII Remake dialogue. It is what it is. You either know what this is and you like it, or you don't. It's just that simple. It's similar to a lot of DLC. It's just more of the same. It's nothing groundbreaking, it's nothing spectacular, but it's fun, and for $20, I had a good time, and I honestly don't feel guilty recommending it to people. I have no hesitation when it comes to that, especially if you've never played 7 Remake and want to play it. This comes with the $70 purchase of Intergrade on PS5. I guess the thing that I liked the most about Intermission, it's twofold. I enjoyed playing as Yuffie, and I wasn't really sure how her shuriken mana powers would really feel in the heat of combat, but I'm surprised and delighted to say that she actually became, out of all the cast, she became one of my favorite characters to play as, aside from, I think probably next to Cloud, she's probably my favorite one to play as, because I really liked throwing her shuriken around, I really liked using the mana attacks, I really liked figuring out which elemental ninjutsu I had to use in order to defeat certain enemies. It's fun. One of the things that I saw people kind of be a deal breaker for them was the fact that Sonon, your partner in the DLC, was not playable. And he's not. Not directly. You can order him to do certain attacks, but they kind of compromise and give you provide a little bit more flow to the battle with some of the decisions they've made in order to balance out you not being able to control as him. Like, for example, when Yuffie gets KO'd, he sacrifices himself, and all the health that Sonon had will go to Yuffie to be revived. And you'll still have to revive him, but it won't automatically be a game over if Yuffie dies. Okay, that's good. They also have this new thing called Synergy, where if you press L2 while you're doing certain attacks and you activate it and your ATB is up high enough, you can perform some seriously powerful elemental attacks against enemies. If I had any big complaints about this DLC, it's that the level design is not it's not what I would have done. The environments that they have you run around in Intermission are not the ones I would have picked, or I would have designed something a little bit better, but I'm sure they chose these because these are the easiest to develop for. You can pretty much just copy and paste some of the stuff like Midgar and the Shinra facility. You could copy and paste it. It's pretty simple to do that. Well, actually, I don't know about simple, but it's a lot less time consuming than building whole new environments for Yuffie and so on. It was giving me flashbacks to those annoying chapters in VII Remake where you would just do nothing but climb ladders, scale a wall, fight a few enemies, rinse and repeat. And I really, those were my least favorite levels of VII Remake. And that's kind of unfortunately what makes up a good portion of Intermission. And the rest of it is a much more scaled down version of the side quest Orama stuff that they had you do in Midgar. And unlike VII Remake, the main game, I actually didn't mind doing the one big side quest in this game, which was collecting posters, because with each one that you found, there is like a little like audio reward within itself where it plays this cute little jingle through the PS5's controller. I thought that was funny, so that was kind of like a little thing that I looked forward to. It's little things like that I like. But the big showcase as far as side content goes is Fort Condor. And of course, Fort Condor was an area in OG Final Fantasy VII, and I never really liked the mini game that you could play here. I'm not really into that kind of strategy stuff, so I never really bothered a lot of the time with the mini game stuff in the original Fort Condor. But to my great surprise, the Fort Condor minigame in Remake is actually fun. I got into it more than I thought I would. I spent an unhealthy amount of time trying to hunt down all the champions and trying to defeat the Grandmaster. The Grandmaster's a fucking bitch. Jesus Christ. And I had fun going around and collecting all the different figurines and the boards and stuff like that. I enjoyed that a lot more than I expected, because I think with the exception of Gwent in Witcher, I haven't been into like a side activity like this in a while. Just like its own thing. And I actually wouldn't mind if they released the Fort Condor minigame as like its own separate thing, just without microtransactions and all that shit. Just like its own separate game, which would be fun. So I liked that. And then the other big highlight for me, of course, are the boss fights. Similar to Remake, the regular game, they are really good. They are definitely standout moments in Intermission. And I'm not going to spoil any of them, but the final fight in particular, I thought was really, really cool. And the theme that they use for the second phase of the fight is one of the best boss themes I have heard in a game in a very long time. It's one of the best. It's up there for me. And I know this is like, for those who have heard it, I know this is like the super obvious comparison, but I genuinely would not be shocked if we were to find out later that Yoko Shimomura composed the boss theme for the final boss of Intermission. I really would not be surprised. It has her style all over it. Either she did it or whoever did it was very clearly mimicking her style. And whoever composed it, if God forbid if anything were to ever happen to Shimomura, I would want this person to be making Kingdom Hearts music in the future. Like, it's that good. It reminded me so much of the Yozora fight theme from KH3 Remind. Like, it's that good. To me, like, that final boss with that theme was probably the highlight of the DLC for me. Overall, would I recommend Intermission as a separate $20 purchase? I would. I really would. I would recommend it. Would I recommend Final Fantasy VII Intergrade as a bundle total for $70? Yes, especially if you have not played Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like I said, it's very good. Even without intermission here, I actually would not mind paying $70. And I actually, like, I think before, you could probably go back to my live reactions to the state of play. I think I even said, like, I would not mind spending $70 again on 7 Remake if I got, like, the fancy upgrades, like the better textures and the 60 frames and all that. Square Enix, you fucked up E3, but Intergrade, intermission, it's alright. Alright, thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you like what you see, subscribe. Let me know what you thought about Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade and Intermission. And as always, I am Razorblade Mango. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you all later. Bye.